Jeremy is an incredible person, as you know. Not only that, but he's potentially one of the most driven people I've ever met. And so I wanted to throw in a question right at the beginning here. I know that you have a bucket list, which is a list of things you want to do.
I do.
Before you die.
Yes.
What's on it and why do you have one?
I have a bucket list because it makes me get the most out of life, and because I don't want to take life how it's given to me. I want to embrace life and I want to go for all those things. I have tons of things on there. I want to learn to fly a helicopter. I just ticked one off my bucket list. I wanted to get a tube riding. So I was in the Maldives surfing about a month ago and I ticked that off my bucket list. I had lots of things. I wanted to become an Olympian. I have all these dreams. That bucket list is a compilation of all my dreams, and I just think that's an awesome way to approach life.
Nice, nice. Our first question comes to us from text. It's going to come up on the screens just behind us. The question is, when all hope is lost, how can you encourage yourself and others to have the hope to continue? Good question.
It's a really good question, and funnily enough, it just came out last week in Fitness First magazine, an article that I wrote called Overcoming Disappointment, and I'll give a whole lot of points in there. But when all hope is lost, all hope was lost for me in Vancouver, but here's a few tips of how I got over it that you can encourage yourself. The first thing is you've got to keep your eye on the big picture of why you really did it. So I take Vancouver as an example for me. That was absolutely the worst thing that could happen to me. But big picture, I had still become a two-time Olympian, and I was still proud of the journey to get there, etc., etc. That was one way. Another way is we often think of stubborn in a bad sense, with a negative connotation, but you can be stubborn in a good sense. So you find that very successful people, and I interviewed 10 really famous people for my book, the very time that they feel like giving up is the very time that they won't, because they know that the average person stops at that point. So they're stubborn in a good way. They will go further and go longer and go harder than the average person. And the other one is you've just got to find any sweetness out of that adversity, and it doesn't matter what that is. And maybe the conclusion is stuff happens, but you've just got to draw any sweetness that you can to keep going on for the next day and next day, because you're not going to be inspired because you've lost all hope. But there's three ways. But if you want to read that article, it's in Fitness First magazine, and it's a free magazine.
That's nice. First question from the crowd comes from section just over here.
Hi, I'm Georgia from Parraford Gardens High School, and I want to know, through your ups and downs, how did you keep determined, and what pulled you through? What was your motivation to keep going?
A lot of people, when you do a New Year's resolution, it's like, I'm going to do this. Well, it comes from here. But when you have a real dream, and Amy talked about this, it comes from your heart, right? There's a whole lot of psychology that backs that up. But the point is, if you really want something and you're really driven, and this day is so fantastic for this, it's driven by the heart, and the heart is what gets you over the obstacles. It's not the head. That's why no one keeps going with their New Year's resolutions on average. But that's why when I get up in the morning and I'm driven by a dream at 6 a.m. to get up and train, versus, let's say, Murray, that's not driven by his heart to get up at 6 a.m., I'm going to keep going, yeah? So you find a dream that motivates you from the inside, and that's how you keep going.
And that's you can see the difference there then between the two.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
No worries, mate. No, I had a great career in sport, just cut short by a stunning lack of ability. It was good. Ladies and gentlemen, our next question from just down here.
Hi, I'm Georgia from Wilderness School, and I was just wondering, what does the next 5 years hold for you? What are you planning on doing now that you've attended both your dreams?
Yeah, well, I've decided I'm going to go away in January and do a few more competitions, and whether or not I go on to the next Olympics, which is in Russia, in Sochi, in 2 years, I'm not sure. So I guess watch that space. And I am back in banking and finance. I'm also an ambassador for a group that Amy mentioned, the Global Poverty Project. And so I do a little bit of work with them around extreme poverty. And that keeps me pretty busy. Between that, work and training keeps me busy enough.
That's nice. Do you find it's really important to set the next milestone? Like once you've achieved something, do you have to have something in place?
I don't think you have to. I'm wired like that. But I certainly think it's great to have a vision for your life. I don't think that there has to be these amazing goals or goal-orientated, but I think you should have a vision for what you want. And too many people just take life how they come to it. Like, here's a really important point. It sounds funny to say it in this environment. If you have a dream, just do not be naive. You will have people who will tell you can't do it. You'll have teachers say something to you that cuts to the core. You'll have parents say something to you that cuts to the core. You'll have friends that say, no, you can't do that. Yeah? There's a point with which you've got to decide for yourself that you're not going to be defined by other people's expectations, and it's your life, and it's only your life, and you're going to make your life how you want to make it. And so in answer to your question, that doesn't have to be going to the Olympics, but it's a vision for what you want your life to be like.
Nice. Next question comes to us from just up here. Yes.
Hi, my name's Sam from Seaford 6 to 12 school. I was just wondering, when you walk around the street and people point you out, do you feel proud about your achievements and what you've done, and what do you do with that?
Yeah, I do. And it happened at the pub the other night where this guy comes up and he's like, are you a bobsledder? And I'm like, yep. Anyway, I looked over and they're all sort of waving this table, and that was pretty bizarre when you're a bobsledder because not many people know bobsledders in Australia. But here's the point. I am really proud of that journey, yeah? And that was that point about going for your dreams. Even if Vancouver worked out terribly for me, I'm still proud of the journey to get there. And you watch a show like The Biggest Loser, it's not just losing the weight for them. It's the journey of what they've done and who they become and how proud they are. So that's another reason why if you've got a dream written on that page, have the guts to go for it, because you'll be proud of yourself and you are better off regardless.
That's nice. Our next question comes to us from text. Is going to be coming up on the screens here. You're an incredibly inspirational person. Thank you. Oh, no, sorry, that's to you. Right.
Thank you.
Who did you look to for inspiration as a child? Who's your inspiration?
You know what? I didn't have one person, but I just used tons of whatever could give me inspiration. So I could give you lots of different people. And it's consistent. And young leaders in Halogen have had some of these people. I find Jessica Watson inspiring because she wasn't limited by people's expectations of what she could do with her age. I find Kurt Fernley inspiring because of what he did when he crawled Kokoda. I find Michael Jordan inspiring because everyone thought he was talented, but yet he worked harder than the average person, and that's that flip side of being successful. So I just would draw inspiration from wherever I could, whatever picture, whatever video, whatever song, and I encourage you to do the same.
Our next question is just right up here.
I'm Carly from Glossop, and we just want to know what made you want to be an Olympian?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know what? I can't actually answer that question. All I know is that I can remember like yesterday, I'm showing my age here, 1984, sitting on a little chair, watching a little TV and watching them walk in at the Summer Olympic Games in Los Angeles, and something fired on the inside of me. I can't tell you why, but maybe there's something that's just fired on the inside of you and you don't know why, but that's the start of a dream, yeah? I don't know why it happened, but I just know that from that moment, a dream was born inside of me, and it started as a small spark, and then the next Olympics, I'd watch it again and go, oh, I wish I could become one of those people. And it just went on, and it grew and grew and grew. Yeah.
Was there a sport then within the Olympics that you thought, because obviously rugby was something for you, was there another sport, an Olympic sport?
I always loved track and field, but I guess at that early stage, my dream wasn't really clear. I just knew I wanted to be one of those people who were so proud of themselves and so fit and so healthy, just walking in behind the flag. I mean, I can still see it like it's yesterday, and just waving to the crowd, and that's what I knew I wanted to. I didn't know how that would look, and maybe there's another point with your dreams. They're not clear right from the start, yeah? I didn't wake up and go, I want to be a bobsledder. You know, it just sort of happens, but I know I had a picture of it.
Surprisingly few people do, actually.
Yeah, when they live in Russia.
Curling, that'd be, yeah.
Curling?
That's me. That's what
There
I'm
you
cut
go.
out for. Just the broom.
See you in
and
Sochi.
That's right. Well, yeah, probably not. Just up here, we've got a question from you. Hi.
If you could relive that day at the Olympics and do something differently, what would you do? And do you have any regrets?
I've got no regrets, and that is the most important answer I'll give all day. Would I do anything differently? I couldn't have. It was so random. I mean, if I could change everything and how it happened, I would in a heartbeat. And there's a difference between disappointment and regret. I don't think I'll ever stand here and go, oh, I'm happy with what happened. I think I'll always be disappointed, and I'll always be devastated by what happened. I don't think anything will change that. Time may make it more dull, but I don't think anything will change that. But I don't regret it. Does that make sense? And they're really different, and that was actually the catalyst for why I wrote my book, because a lot of people don't get the difference, and therefore they won't go after their dreams. So I could stand here all day trying to implore you, go for your dreams, the world's your oyster, da-da-da-da. But plenty of people don't have the guts to go to that next step and go for it because they either want to know that they're going to get it before they start, as opposed to you'll be better off regardless. Yeah?
Great question. Next is from just down here.
Hi, my name's Steele, and I was just wondering what training you had to go through to become an Olympian.
I guess it was accumulation of a lot of years of my rugby training and bobsleigh. Bobsleigh specifically, it's a lot of strength and speed. So we'd be lifting really heavy weights. I was 10 kilos heavier for the Olympics, and I guess to put some numbers around that, you know, we'd be squatting things like 270 kilos or 400 kilos on the leg press. You know, it's big, big weights that you're doing. Lots of physical training, and then as a pilot, I'd watch a lot of POV videos. I'd do a lot of visualization, a lot of those mental techniques, and then just got to go overseas and be on the ice, and that's where our biggest disadvantage is against the rest of the world. Yeah.
We just got time for a couple more questions. Our next one's going to come up to us from the far side of the room, just up here.
Hi, my name's Chloe Turner from Salisbury High School, and I'm just wondering, during your journey to accomplish your childhood dreams, were you ever tempted to give up and do something that seemed more possible because you doubted your ability?
Yeah. and anyone that stands up here as a successful person that says they didn't doubt is lying through their teeth, in my opinion, because that's part of the journey. That you have to conquer yourself and conquer your fears, and you have to conquer the obstacles, and you have to conquer the big journey of this. I guess that's where you start from your heart, and then you add on all the techniques that would do it. So techniques that will help with things like that are just pure habit and pure discipline. But by themselves, they're not going to get you there. So I did lose hope a lot of times as to whether or not I had the goods to actually do it, but I knew what was fueling me inside, so I just kept going, and I guess it went from there. But I wasn't the kid at school that was, I mean, yeah, sure, I was good at sport, but I was not the hero of sport at school. So, you know, there's plenty of people out there that were probably more talented than me, but did not have everything else that it took to get there.
Jeremy, we've got time for just one last question, which comes to us from right here.
Did you ever believe in the people who put you down?
Wow.
That is a really good question.
Because they would have been significant people, right, in your
Yes. I'll tell you a really quick story and then answer it. Because you understand a little bit of my story, when I told my father that I was going for 2006 games, I come from a really close family. But I looked in his eyes and I knew he didn't want me to go, and he didn't want me to hurt myself again and potentially put my heart on the line. And when someone really close to you doesn't believe you, even if he never said it, his eyes betrayed that to me. And that's hard to not take that on. So when you have friends and when you have teachers and when you have, and hopefully it's never teachers, but it does happen, when you have people in your world that tell you that you can't do something, or you're not creative, or you're not this, you're not that, there will always come a point, you'll always be hurt, yeah? But there will come a point which you're going to have to choose actively, almost like a bubble to just, I see it as a bubble. When people say that, I picture a bubble and it bounces off. It's like a bubble over me and I just bang, worthless. Their opinion is my life. There will come a point where you have to choose. And so maybe today is one of those days where you make a choice that this is what I'm going to do, and who knows when that, but it will come as a choice.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have any more time for questions, but I do want to thank Kayla and Melissa from Burwood High School for running the mics, and to say thank you to Jeremy Rolleston. We have Seetsan and Adita from Chaffey Secondary College. Would you guys want to come up on stage?
Hello. How are you? Thank you very much.
From behalf of every single one here, well, I would like to thank you for coming out here and giving us a truly very admiring speech, and to tell us not to have any regrets in our life and to follow our dreams. Thank you.
Thank you. All the best, everybody.